If you have ever stepped onto a construction site, you will realize the morning quietness and the pure comedy coexist at the same time. Today, I am here to narrate, in the most seamless way possible, a full journey through countless amusing scenes of life. Everything you are about to read is based on joyful, harmless incidents that happen in hard-working ordinary experiences and somehow turn them into unforgettable moments. As I begin my commentary, imagine your coffee in hand, watching a day unfold with the sort of characters arriving one by one, each carrying a determination to start the day smoothly. However, the idea of a smooth start quickly becomes a distant dream as soon as our first character of the day steps onto the site. His name, for the sake of the story, Ray walks like a man who believes the universe aligns itself around his head. With a confident stride, he places his back on the bench, dusts his hands together as if preparing resting. The plan, however, has different intentions. As Ray moves one way, the opposite end rises as well, swings gently up, taps on the glass and stays in the seat. Ray turns As I stand there observing, the sun begins to climb slowly. The sight grows brighter. Another look. They are light, flexible, Ben picks up the slack and slowly releases it. At first he holds it well, but as he begins to walk, the wind decides to interfere just a little. Another tilts backward, and suddenly the entire stand begins to move. It's a playful magician. Ben tries to control it, spinning around slowly. His arms and for a moment he almost succeeds. Oversized pedals. Ben looks down, nods to himself, and simply picks them up again as if this choreography. The sound of begin arranging equipment. One of them tests a measuring tape and stretching the fire across an open area. He steps back, and then watches as the tape moves slowly. But the marvel of this process becomes causing him to take an unexpected step back.
You can do it, guys. You can do it. There's a last big one.
It is as if he has just witnessed a magic trick designed specifically for him. By mid-morning, the energy on the construction site feels warm and vibrant. Conversations are in fragments. One worker shares a story about his weekend. Another talks about a recipe he tried and failed to perfect. A third explains the brilliance of a sports match. Someone carries a toolbox that seems heavier than expected. He lifts it with the strength of a determined human, only to realize he accidentally grabbed the box containing every tool imaginable, not the lightweight version he intended. The moment he lifts it, his knees bend slightly, and he takes a deep breath. Today, he climbs the first few steps with the grace of someone who has done this hundreds of times. But then, he glances down.
Okay, now let's see this part.
He chooses option 3, trying to reach it with an extended simply holds the pose for an extra second before re-entering the magical earth closer. Of course, it does not. Theo then bows quietly and climbs back down to retrieve it properly. All these moments create a rhythm, a gentle harmony of human unpredictability that turns ordinary tasks into delightful stories. The beauty of observing these scenes lies in the reactions of the workers. They never get upset or discouraged. Instead, they embrace each small accident with humor, and move on with admirable spirit. As I continue narrating, another scene catches my eye. A worker named Taylor is organizing almost like arranging decorative items in a showroom. When he steps back to admire his work, a gentle breeze passes by, just enough to move a piece of paper from a nearby table. The paper glides downward and lands directly on the bucket box. Caleb picks it up with a look that suggests he has just finished. He folds the paper. Line up the buttons, adjusting them to the precision of a master. These are only the early hours of the day, and already the sight feels like a stage of spontaneous humor without faults. Every worker contributes to the attention, becoming part of an ongoing show that builds. As the morning moves toward its late hours, the construction site develops its own kind of rhythm, steady yet filled with unexpected sparks of humor. I shift my attention where several workers are preparing materials for the next stage of the project. Among them is a man named Oliver, who has always been known for his ability to turn even the simplest task into a small performance. Today, his goal is to roll out a section of protective covering around the pathway. The roll is large and slightly not entirely. He places one hand carefully. At first, everything seems smooth. But halfway through the path, the roll decides to shift just a little to the left. Oliver gently nudges it back, as if correcting the behavior of a playful child. For a brief moment, the roll remains. Then it swings slightly to the right, and Oliver follows it again, ensuring it stays aligned. The scene quickly becomes a gentle dance between man and material. As observers, we can see Oliver trying to maintain the while also acknowledging that the roll seems to have its own personality. Eventually, the roll stops cooperating. Instead of moving forward, it wobbles in place, as though contemplating whether it should proceed. Oliver pauses, places both hands on his hips, and takes a deep breath. He then crouches, examines the roll with a sense of exaggerated seriousness, and whispers something to it.
それは何?
No one can hear what he
それは
says,
忌々しい
but whatever
薄い
it
た
is, the roll must appreciate his sincerity, because it suddenly begins to move forward again with surprising enthusiasm. Oliver raises his eyebrows, impressed with his own negotiation skills, and continues pushing until the entire covering lies perfectly along the path. When he finishes, he gives the roll a gentle pat, the way a coach might praise an athlete after a long sprint. Not far from Oliver, another scene unfolds. This time, it involves two workers named Mark and Julie who are assembling a set of lightweight panels. These panels are easy to handle, at least in theory, but they have a habit of catching the breeze.
私は
Mark holds a panel upright while Julian sits
大丈夫
rapid at the bottom. Everything goes smoothly until a small gust passes through the corridor. The panel moves forward, bumping calmly against Mark's shoulder. Mark straightens it, but once he lets go, the panel leans the other way, nudging Julian now. Julian steadies it, but then the panel returns to Mark as if unsure which worker it prefers. Their reactions remain complex, but the alternating taps make them look like participants in a slow motion game. Seeing this, I cannot help but great admiring the panel seems undecided about its loyalty. Eventually, Mark and Julian work in unison, both grabbing the panel at the same time, securing it firmly into place. When they finish, Mark jokingly steps away from the panel as if giving it a chance to chase him again. It stays still now, finally content. The midday sun rises high above the site, brightening every corner.
ついている
Lunch approaches, but before the break, yet another amusing moment begins to unfold. A worker named Lewis is carrying a bucket of harmless construction material. The bucket is perfectly fine, but Lewis chooses to carry it with extraordinary caution, almost too carefully. As he walks, he focuses intensely on the smooth edges of uneven ground.
あなた
His steps become precise,
そうだ
delicate, and
さあ
overly
行く
calculated.
行く
The way he navigates the path resembles a man trying to cross a corridor filled with imaginary alarms that might activate if he moves too quickly. His co-workers watch him
こ
from
う
a
に地味
distance,
が悪い
puzzled
さ
by
ブラ
his
ックフ
careful
ィング
movements. When he reaches the destination safely, Lewis releases a breath as if he has just completed an epic journey. The bucket, of course, remains exactly as organized as the intended. Across the site, one of the more artistic workers, a man named Samuel, is preparing to repaint a set of temporary. Samuel treats every brushstroke as if he is creating a masterpiece. He positions his materials neatly, adjusts his settings, and dips the brush with deliberate attention. His first stroke glides smoothly across the surface. The second stroke follows with equal precision. Then, as he prepares for the third, something unusual happens. A brief shadow that startles Samuel ever so slightly. His hand twitches, and instead of painting the shadow, he creates a dramatic swirl. In process, he studies the swirl, and instead of fixing it, he steps back with a look of artistic pride. He nods as if deciding the swirl adds character to the object. A coworker walks by, looks at the swirl, and asks if it is intentional. Samuel simply says, "Every creation deserves a touch of personality." Soon the lunch break arrives. Workers gather around different shaded areas of the site, each taking a moment to rest. But even during the break, the comedic rhythm does not pause. One worker witnesses an attitude only to discover that he packed the wrong meal. Instead of frustration, he stares, just then slowly begins eating. Accepting his fate. Another worker tries to open a drink bottle, but the cap resists. He uses every polite method imaginable, twisting gently, adjusting his grip, tapping the cap lightly. Eventually, a colleague opens it with a single effortless motion. The worker stares at him with admiration and mild confusion,
Ali,
as if
bu ne
witnessing
biçim
a
iş lan?
hidden talent.
Şikayet etme.
After lunch, energy shifts as the workers return to their tasks refreshed. The next series of scenes begins with a worker named Adrian who is unloading boxes from a pallet.
되고
The boxes are small enough to carry in pairs. Adrian picks up two, one in
I'll be
each.
outside nowhere right
Confidently,
now.
he begins walking across the site and describes
I
the
mean, I'm
productivity. One box is Adrian adjusts slightly, trying to keep both boxes level. Then the second box tilts in the opposite direction. Adrian responds with a series of small balancing motions, moving his elbows outward like a tightrope walker maintaining equilibrium. His concentration intensifies. His steps become remarkably calculated. For a few seconds, it seems like the boxes are but Adrian manages to regain full control and sets them down triumphantly. He dusts off his hands, nods with satisfaction, and walks away with the pride of someone who has overcome a challenge only he truly understands. Nearby, another worker named Felix is checking his However, Felix noticing. Just as it is about to touch the ground, Felix turns around and catches it in a swift motion, intersecting the ice. He stands still for a moment, impressed by his own reflexes, then glances around to see if anyone witnessed his quick save. His coworker raises a hand in acknowledgement, and Felix responds with a modest nod, pretending the moment was absolutely intentional. The afternoon continues with rapid and steady work. The conversations become blending with the soft hum of distant machinery. The sun casts long shadows across the ground. So the narrator capturing each unnamed gesture, each human sequence, each subtle line turns ordinary labor into an ongoing tapestry of cheerful storytelling. As the afternoon establishes its steady rhythm, the construction site becomes a blend of soft chatter, purposeful footsteps, and sort of whenever people concentrate deeply on simple tasks. My attention drifts to a worker named Henry, a thoughtful man who always believes in double-checking even the smallest detail. Today his mission involves aligning a series of lightweight markers along the straight line. It is a job many would complete quickly, but Henry prefers precision. He places the first marker, steps back, places the second marker, then steps back again, analyzing the line as if he is inspecting an important piece of art. But midway through the alignment process, Henry notices an unexpected issue. The shadow cast by a nearby structure makes the markers appear slightly misaligned from a certain angle. Henry tilts his head left and then right, trying to determine whether the markers are truly off or whether the illusion is playing tricks on him. After a minute of contemplation, he decides to adjust them once more, shifting them so slightly that even the person standing beside him will struggle to notice the difference. When he finally steps back and surveys his work, satisfaction usually reserved for completing a complex architectural project. One of his co-workers walks by, glances at the markers, and says they look excellent. Henry accepts the compliment as though he just finished constructing an entire building. Not far away, a worker named Nolan is preparing materials for the next stage of the site. Nolan is known for his calm manner and the way he approaches tasks as though every object deserves respect. Today he is stacking a set of boards into a neat pile. He picks up each board with care and places it gently onto the stack, aligning the edges perfectly. When he reaches the final board, but just as he finishes, a light breeze stirs the air. One corner of the top board lifts slightly, almost playfully. Nolan notices the shift, straightens the board again, and stands still for a moment to see if the breeze will return. It does. The board lifts by the tiniest measure, as though refusing to settle. Nolan smiles, as if even a board can have its own preferences. After adjusting it once more, he places a small object on top to keep it in place, then walks away with a satisfied nod, acknowledging the simple truth between man and material. The next scene unfolds near a shaded area where two workers, Leonard and Mason, are measuring a section of the site. Leonard stretches the tape measure while Mason marks the spots with chalk. The coordination between them is smooth until Leonard pulls the tape a bit too enthusiastically. The tape snaps back slightly and surprises both of them. Leonard maintains his expression of surprise. Mason laughs softly, not in a mocking amusement of someone who has experienced the same unexpected recoil many times. Leonard unrolls the tape again, this time with a gentler touch, and both continue working as though nothing happened. Meanwhile, a worker named Elliot is organizing tools on a small table. He arranges them grouping them by purpose, then adjusts the spacing to create a balance. When he finishes, he stands back and observes the arrangement with pride. But as he turns to leave, he accidentally measures the corner of the table with his knee. The tools shift slightly, as if reacting collectively to the gentle bar. Elliot looks back at the violent display, then carefully repositions once again. He steps away slowly this time, watching the tools out of the corner of his eye to ensure they stay still. Satisfied, he walks off confidently, as though he has just resolved a diplomatic situation between himself and the table. Across the site, the sound of light-hearted conversation begins to rise. Two workers discuss a game they watched last night, each reenacting with exaggerated gestures. Another pair debates the best sandwich in the meals, speaking with the passion of culinary experts. A few workers relax for a moment on a bench, sharing stories from earlier jobs. The Despite shared camaraderie. Then comes a moment involving a worker named Grant, who is transporting a small cart filled with harmless materials. The cart has a stable structure, and one of its wheels tends to swivel into the distance. Grant begins moving the cart along a straight path, confident it will follow him without issue. But as he's speeding, the rebellious turns sideways, causing the cart to veer gently.
I think that's a little too big for that.
Grant adjusts his path.
Mr. George, para todos los que dicen que I'm recording this video for you, Mr. George.
Grant adjusts again. This pattern repeats itself as Grant performs a subtle dance with the cart, both of them shifting radically. Eventually, Grant stops, crouches, and manually turns the wheel into the correct position. He stands up again, resumes walking, and this time the cart follows him perfectly, as if acknowledging Grant's gentle approach. A short distance away, a worker named Owen is in the middle of cart. He bends down, draws a line, steps back, and checks the alignment. Then he reaches for his pencil, only to realize it is somehow rolled a few inches away. He picks it up, draws the next line, and again the pencil slips out of his hand.
Tecnologia! Tecnologia!
Owen retrieves it once more, this time faces the rolls again, following a subtle slope in the surface. Instead of frustration, Owen simply laughs quietly to himself, then places the pencil inside his shirt pocket so he can no longer escape. With this small victory achieved, he continues his work. As the afternoon stretches into later hours, a soft golden hue begins to overlay the construction site, adding warmth to the environment. Shadows lengthen, and the light flickers gently as it passes through scaffolding, tools, and structures. This natural shift brings out a sense of calm, but the humor continues steadily. One of the next amusing scenes involves a worker named Patrick. He is organizing a bundle of cables, looping them carefully to avoid tangling. His technique is precise, and loops an impressive circle. But then, as he holds the neatly coiled cable, one end slips free and unwinds just enough to disturb the circle. Patrick pauses, examining the slight imperfection as though assessing a puzzle. He slowly recoils the loose section, restores the perfect circle, and then secures it with a band. He lifts the finished coil with pride, almost expecting a round of applause for his attention to detail. Even though no one sees it, the satisfaction on his face is unmistakable. As I stand narrating these scenes, a gentle sense of appreciation settles over me. The construction site is more than a place where structures rise. It is a stage filled with countless small moments that reflect the humanity, humor, and spirit of the people working here. Every action, every small sacrificed solution contributes to the unending story that grows richer with each passing hour. And so the day continues, filled with quiet comedy, determined workers, and scenes that narrate themselves through their natural charm. As the late afternoon unfolds, the construction site settles into a steady pace, but the natural stream of amusing moments continues as effortlessly as ever. I shift my attention toward a worker named Marcus, who is methodically organizing some small markers on a crate. Marcus is known for being calm and diligent, often moving with the meticulousness of someone sorting their collectibles. Today, however, the crate he is working with seems determined to test his patience in the gentlest way possible. Marcus picks up each marker and places it precisely into the divider slots. But as he nears the final row, he realizes that one of the slots he squints at the slot. cleanly with a satisfying precision. Encouraged, Damien moves on to the next section, repeating the process. Everything proceeds flawlessly until a